The Loch Mess Monster by Helen Lester. Before we begin, there are a few terms that you might need to be familiar with. Loch means lake. Wee laddie means little boy. Skirps means drips. Piggy knit means peanut. Hummy duties means mittens. Grody means dirty. Tatties means potatoes. Helen coo means Highland cow. And a piliwali means sick. So let's begin. In faraway Scotland there was a famous lake called Loch Ness. And legend had it that deep in this lake lived a monster no one had ever seen. But guess what? The legend was false. In truth, way down at the bottom of the Loch Ness, there lived not one, but three monsters. There was Nellie, her husband Fergus, and their wee laddie Angus. From the time he was a baby, Angus's parents had taught him the 5 basic monster rules. Number 5, never behave in a monstrous manner. Number 4, never eat with your thumbs. Number 3, always say excuse me when you cough, sneeze, or burp. Number 2, always pick up after yourself. And number 1, never ever go up to the surface of the loch. So Angus was a well-behaved little monster. He ate with a spoon, and he said excuse me when he coughed, sneezed, or burped. As he grew bigger, so did his missus. Mother Nessie skidded across the floor on Angus's slimy lockweed collection and crashed into Father Fergus. Father Fergus tripped over Angus's fishy dolls and landed on the porridge. Angus loved the action. His parents did not. Have you noticed that our laddie leaves skirps all over his dishes? They asked. And piggy knit shells on the floor, and that his hummy duties are hopelessly mixed up, and that we're surrounded by grody laundry. What had happened to their tidy home? Angus had happened. It was time to reinforce basic monster rule number 2. Always pick up after yourself. So Angus' parents told him that while they loved him very much, until he cleaned up after himself, he would have to stay in his room so that his stuff would stop spreading. Meanwhile, they would deliver his daily meal of milk and tatties in a can, so Angus went off to his room. In the days that followed, he didn't feel lonesome, for he had so much interesting stuff. Every day he would play with his toys, tossing each one on the floor when he had finished. Before long the floor was full, so Angus tossed his used items onto the bed. And a monstrously messy mountain began to grow. Books and toys and rock collection, slimy lockweed, ew! Filthy dolls and tatty cans and hummy duties too. Grody laundry, piggy knits, spoon and skirpy cup. Messy mountain moving higher, up and up and up. At night, as was his habit, Angus would check to be sure there was no monsters under the bed. Then he would strap on his mountain gear and make the long climb to his lumpy sleeping perch. Each night his climb took a little longer, because each day he added books and toys and a rock collection, slimy lockweed, ew, filthy dolls, tatty cans, hummy duties too, grody laundry, piggy knits, spoon and skirpy cup. Merry mountain moving higher, up and up and up. Not only was the climb a long way up, on the nights when Angus fell out of bed, it was a long way down. Now Angus was beginning to miss his parents. He was uncomfortable on his lumpy bed and dreadfully hot as he neared the sun on the surface of the loch. Surface of the loch? Angus had forgotten basic monster rule number 1. Never, ever go up to the surface of the loch. But here was Angus, rising. Meanwhile, 3 friends gathered on the shores of Loch Ness. A duck, a goat, a Helen coo looked out over the water as they had every morning for years, waiting patiently for the Loch Ness monster to appear. And at last, on this particular morning, they saw a wee ripple way out on the loch. Could it possibly be? They focused their camera, binoculars, and a telescope, and what they saw was Sloppy Angus just awakening and rising on his bed, or what once was his bed. "What a mess!" exclaimed the 3 observers. The trio sadly shook their heads. "It's nae the Loch Ness monster, 'tis the Loch Mess monster." And what did Angus see on the shore? What he saw made him feel absolutely peely-wally. Monstrous land monsters. The little one had enormous feet that could probably stomp you flat in a second. The middle one had a hairy chin, fierce spears on its noggin, and big googly eyes. And the big one must have been 500 feet tall, with a long green snout, and it made the most horrible sound. Moo! Moo! Time to move! Suddenly, Sloppy Angus wanted to clean up. He gathered up as much stuff as his arms could hold, and he climbed down to the bottom of his mountain. "Let's see, slimy lockweed on the shelf, piggy knit shells in the laundry basket, books and toys in the garage, garbage, a grody laundry in the fish tank. No, wait, that's not right. Slimy lockweed on the fish tank, or in the fish tank, grody laundry in the basket, piggy knit shells in the garbage, books and toys on the shelf." Now Angus remembered. And up and up and up he went for another load, up and down, load after load, until at last all his stuff found a place. Books and toys, rock collection, slimy lockweed, ew, fishy dolls, tatty cans, hummy-doodies too, grody laundry, piggy nets, spoon and skirpy cup. Mousy, messy mountain is no more. Angus cleaned it up. Angus was thrilled to see his parents, and as he passed them, he called cheerfully, "I'm off to wash my dishes and recycle my tatties in the cans." His mother and father were concerned. "Are ye peely-wally, laddie?" But Angus was not peely-wally. He was just glad to be plain Angus instead of Sloppy Angus. That night he had a wonderful dinner with his parents and land monster-free dreams on his smooth, cool bed. But Angus didn't want his parents to think he was perfect, so every once in a while he acted a little bit monstrous and left a very, very wee mess. The end.